What is up, Bat family? Here we are on our weekly Zoom call. This week we're covering the medium to high impact news for the market this week, as well as covering the analysis on our trading pairs. And we'll be going over some of our cryptocurrency investments as well as stock pairs that we're looking at. So to start things off, we're going to be looking at the news. On Monday, we can see that at Asia Open, we have monetary policy meeting minutes for the Australian dollar. Tuesday, during New York session, we have consumer price index for the Canadian dollar pre-New York, 5:30 a.m. Wednesday, we have FOMC meeting minutes, high impact news for the US dollar during the middle of New York session. Thursday, there's a wider range of medium to high impact news all session long, from start of London session all the way through New York session. You can see there's high impact news for the euro, high impact news for GBP, following high medium impact news for the Canadian dollar, unemployment claims for USD during pre-New York session, and then following flash manufacturing purchasing managers index later during New York session, right after the 15 minutes into the open. Let's look at daily FX real quick. Yeah, you can see the same thing. Reserve Bank of Australia meeting minutes. But that's about the only big news going on Monday. Tuesday, core inflation rates for Canadian dollar. Wednesday, FOMC. Thursday, Hamburg Commercial Bank Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index. High impact news. Core inflation rates for the euro. That was mentioned on Forex Factory. You can see GDP for Mexico, and then European Central Bank monetary policy meeting minutes. This is during the crossover pre-New York session. GDP for Germany, pre-London Open on Friday, Thursday evening, and then Poland unemployment rates. Ultimately, we have a busy week with lots of high impact news, and should be another fairly volatile week. So, first things first, let's start with gold. Gold had a crazy move during CPI on Wednesday. As you can see, it just absolutely melted for a whopping $30, and actually fell even more than that to pass beyond 1990. So, total of a $40+ movement here on gold, which is absolutely insane in a single day. Those market conditions were wild. So now let's go over the analysis and what to expect for the upcoming week, and where price is headed now after this move has happened. So if we can examine price here, we can see that this level of support was broken, and then this massive sell-off occurred. This level of demand did not hold, as you can see here. One second here. My rabbit is a little needy bun and keeps running around. Alright, so picking up where we left off here, you can see strong bullish candle. Looked like price rejected this broken level of support, tried to act as resistance, then ultimately created a higher low point right here and extended further. We go to the right hand side, we go to the weekly time frame. Major rejection candle tapped right into the higher time frame level of demand, nearly the previous month's low, but not quite. You can see we nearly tapped into it on this wick. Could adjust the sum and it would accurately reflect. Lona Mesh, good morning to you. Well, I don't think it's morning for you right now, but it's morning for me. But yeah, happy Sunday to you. Right now we're going over gold and seeing what the next move is, as on Wednesday it melted $40, a little over 40. You can see in the weekly major wick rejection here. We may or may not have hit the bottom. We need to go zoom out a little more onto the monthly time frame. Looks like we're still bearish, that we are just retracing right now. If we go to the left hand side to the 12-hour time frame, same thing. Looks like we're just retracing and retesting this area of previous support where the move started, and looks like we may continue lower. There's a strong area of supply right here where the move started from. Ultimately for gold, we still may have another leg up. So we could see 2030 once again. If price breaks above this point here at 2015, 2016. If price fails to break above that level of resistance currently, and we pick up off last week. I mean, and you can see on the weekly time frame that if price does break above this area of supply right here, is looking like a clean area for a wick rejection on the higher time frame. But if we do break above that weekly point at 2030, then price may extend all the way back up to 2050. Well, actually 2030, 2040, and then possibly 2050, as this is a major area of liquidity now at the 2037, 2040 price range. This whole area here. If we break above that point, then 2050, 2060 is definitely in the cards. But for now, though, I would expect or anticipate a continuation. There could be some type of retracement to start the week. Possibly hit 2005, maybe even go to 2000, and then could see a move up before seeing the move down. But there's this level of demand right here where price could easily just end up breaking past this point, tapping into, then extending higher. Yeah, it does look like it wants to pull back some, but ultimately, yeah, still looking to extend up to possibly 2030. Just looks very clear. Next, we're going to look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ finally had its bearish retracements and did not break above its all-time high that it made. We did not extend further. Last week, we opened a little bit higher than where we had closed, so we did make technically a new all-time high. We did hit the 18000 price range, a little bit above it. This trend line that was previously here has been broken. It acted basically as a magnet for price. As you can see, it just came down and broke through, and now it looks like it retested and wants to continue its bearish price action. So if we remove some of these zones here, we can get a better idea what's going to happen next. Yeah, this looks very clean. We look like we're going to start heading down to 175, which is a 160-point move from where the price closed last week, and then possibly this monthly low down here at 172. Some very strong bearish candles. Go to the monthly on the right. Yeah, we didn't open with the wick from what I recall. Yeah, this is the monthly candle. We just opened bullish. We may end up breaking this point and end up tapping to this lower level down here at 1700 possibly, and then flip back. All based on the monthly time frame. If we go to the daily, you can see strong bearish candle close. Literally looks like a bearish continuation. We have a possible entry point here based off the daily time frame. We could get a retest right in this area here, which would be area of supply on the 4-hour time frame on the previous candle. May be able to get some type of entry in this area here. Could even go a little bit higher up to the 1789, just based on the 12-hour time frame. We have two potential areas that we could potentially enter on. This point here, up 17800 up to 178.5 almost. So we could see something as such. Pull back here. Continuation down to this where the wick is. At least fill it to this point at the 175. And then possibly extend lower. Could see that. Or if price wants to go a little bit higher, tap right into here, the big wick, and then reverse and start going lower and down to 175 still. Ultimately, we are looking to have a very clean move here, and if we remove this and put a short position tool here, you can see that the potential risk to reward on this trade is pretty substantial. You can see that it's a 2-to-1 or possibly a 3R depending where you enter and where your take profit points are. 2R, 2.5 up to a potentially 6R, depending where stop loss and entry is and where take profit is. But this is overall really good setup. Looks very clean. You can clearly see sellers are in control currently. Next, let's look at US30. US30 made a new all-time high. I've not looked at this since last week or maybe even 2 weeks ago. US30 kind of telling a similar story. We tapped into that price range at almost at 3900, but didn't quite reach. But we did tap into that overall projected price point, as you can see. Just move that. We have a nice little retest area, possibly right where this zone is. To start off the week. Like 3865 possibly. Could see a good little trade like this. Maybe right into here, 384. This could be a 100 point move, maybe even almost 300. Depending where it wants to go and how much volume there is. Yeah, this doesn't look too bad though. So it looks like it just wants to drive lower on the open. So we could see this price point here right in the middle of the risk to reward tool, 3845, and then possibly lower down to 3825 area. On the daily time frame, we just have the start of a bearish push. So we would really need to keep this high intact, otherwise it's just going to break above and break the all-time high. Yep. Yeah, it definitely is against the trend, but I think it may open bearish to start the week. Weekly though, yeah, lots of rejection and indecision. Yeah, definitely it is against the trend. Price could just fail to make a new low, come down like that, keep driving up, try and get more sellers in, and then end up extending to make its full run up to the 4000 price range potentially. Monthly time frame still bullish. Yeah, looking different than what the Nasdaq is currently looking like. 12-hour bearish though. Yeah, it is pretty extended, and based on where it's at, and based on how the candles are just bearish like this, they're not. The Nasdaq had really strong bearish candles. US 30, this isn't quite as convincing because US 30 does a lot of wild things. But we did close pretty strong with no wick rejection on the 4-hour. But on the 12-hour, this past daily candle did not take out the previous daily candle. Maybe the start though, as I was saying, to the bearish move. It would just need to maintain this area and then drive lower, but ultimately I would say we're going to open bearish. Yeah, this middle point though, the 3845 area, is probably a safe point to get out and then reevaluate what's going to happen. Right at this point here would be a good break-even point or close half. That's right. Yep. It's tough with the US 30 because you can see it so clearly, and then it creates these wild wicks or flip sweeps, and then it does what it does. Yeah. And it moves so much in those quick little volatile movements, like 20, 30 points. It's not just like 5 to 10. It moves a good amount. Might barely take you out, and then that massive candle comes in. Alrighty, next let's look at Euro. Euro's been moving around a lot lately, and I haven't looked at this in a few weeks. Daily candle, major rejection, came down, flipped back to bullish last week. Alexa, volume down. Yeah, higher low point it looks like on the monthly. Drove up, came down though, and we are in XRP now. 1 second. Okay. Weekly candle, that's really good. Looks like a sweep. Made it look like it broke this level of support or demand, but it really was just coming down to test this point here. Yeah, I made it seem like it broke support, snapped right back in. Yeah, very bullish. Not short position, long position. It almost looks like 1.08. Just write this up. Almost 100 pip move. Put stop loss below the weekly low. It's a higher time frame setup. Oh yeah, that looks very clean. We break above, yeah, right on the break of resistance. This could be a strong breakout trade. So 75%. That's how it goes. I remember a few years ago, we took buys on odd USD when the sentiment was like that, and it went. When the market's oversaturated, it's got to take some people out. Yeah, right here. A lot of money right here. A lot of liquidity. This really looks like if she just pops and breaks above, it's just a clean shot right to this area of supply. This is just a really clean move over 2R. Yeah, this looks like a really clean setup. Very easy setup. Low risk, high reward. Yeah, that's pretty good. Even if you lower the target sum to this point, it's still almost a 2R trade. Just buying at 1.08 on the breakout. If you get the higher low point though, then you're going to be even better off. Maybe down here. Yeah, almost 3R. Yeah, 2.5 to 3R. Yeah, that's pretty solid. Very, very solid. Yep, that's what it looks like. The news didn't look too much on Wednesday, and I'm sorry, Monday. Monday didn't seem too much, but yeah, and with it being a holiday as well. Yep, I don't have work. The bank is closed. Get paid as well. Not bad. Not bad. But yeah, Wednesday sounds about right. It'll take a lot of volume to break this point and make it move, 80, 70, 80, 100 pips. Alright, I'm going to dive into some crypto now. Bitcoin has finally broken above 50K, and the market is starting to look very interesting here. So we're going to pull up Bitcoin and XRP. XRP has been rallying as well, but not as strongly as I would like. But it is starting to shift. Similar to another coin that I'm holding, Brave Basic Attention Token, which is the acronym or the ticker symbol is B.A.T. Seems pretty fitting. But I've been using this browser for years, and it provides a lot of value. and ultimately very undervalued token coin. Alright, so let's start with Bitcoin here. So price is broken above the 50K point with the strong bullish candles, strong bullish volume. We're looking very good. At this point, I was expecting to see possibly strong wick rejections and major sell-offs, especially once we were right at the 50K point, but we're still looking good. Now that doesn't mean next week we may not just do that. That can still happen. That happens quite a bit, but looking pretty clean right now with lots of strong volume. Yep, 55, 56, 65. Yep, right up here. You know, it looks like we're going to drive up to 60K. It doesn't look like it's going to stop right here. We're in the middle of the chart right now at 4K. Heck no. Right in the middle of the chart, just going to drive further. There is just really nothing holding it back from right now, just to coming up to here. That's the previous all-time high, though. If we do get up to the previous all-time high, things are going to start getting very interesting. That could be the start of the next bull run. You know, Bitcoin doesn't really visit its all-time highs unless it's going to start going off again. And yep, absolutely. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend, my friend. This will be up later this afternoon on YouTube. It's about to just break above higher and continue up to the 60K point and maybe even its previous all-time high at 69. And if it does, then there's a good chance we may even break above and make a new all-time high. If we look at our next pair, XRP, we're also looking pretty good, but still we would need to break above this previous bearish candle, because otherwise it just looks like a continuation move down to our anticipated price points of 40 cents, 45 cents, 40 cents, and 35 cents. If we hit that point, then those are obviously really good prices. But if we break above the 65-cent price, right above the previous monthly candle, then that as well is just going to kick XRP off too. Drive it all the way up to the 90-cent range, all the way up to $1, and possibly even higher. It's been just fooling around. Waiting at 5. Solana. Yeah, Sol rallied strong too. A lot of these are very undervalued and some may not make the most sense fundamentally, but when an asset's undervalued, people are buying them right up. And yeah, we just have this clear range all the way up to $1.10, $1.20. Once we break 65. 65 is a major key point of interest, so I'm going to set an alert on 65 cents. But if we break above the previous month's high, there's a good chance we're just going to keep on moving. And with Bitcoin looking like it's going to keep extending up to its all-time high as well, there's a good chance it's just going to keep rallying. This may be the start of the next crypto bull run. You know, it's very hard to predict. You don't really see them coming. Price is always low when it does happen, but no one really expects that they go off the way they do. You may expect some type of bullish movement, but not, you know, a 10x run, 5x run. You know, that's very hard to catch and very hard to predict. Yeah, let's look at Litecoin. I haven't messed with Litecoin in a long time. Look at that shortly. We're going to look at basic attention token real quick. But as you can see, same thing. If we break above this previous monthly candle, it's just going to kick off its bullish rally. The major point of interest right here is at 30 cents, almost 35 cents. But as you can see, we're breaking above the previous monthly candle open. We're almost approaching its monthly high. And if we end up breaking past that point, there's really not much holding it back up until we get up to 45 cents. That's nearly 100% from this price point. This point right here, this zone. So right where price currently is, if we continue up to this point, that's a 70 to over 80% movement in price. And if we do extend further than that, Well, for now, yeah, it looks like we may just hit this point first and then reverse and then try and continue its overall rally. Break above, down to retest, and then continue trending. I could be wrong, it may just go parabolic, but ultimately it does look like this is the first stop before we see some type of retracement and then continuation move. But ultimately, same thing. If price can break above this 30-cent, 35-cent point, this is going to kick off the bullish market for, or bullish run for, basic attention token as well. This asset's very undervalued. Its previous all-time high was at $1.92. So to be buying it up at the 20-cent to 25-cent price range is an absolute steal. It's very low, very undervalued. It's still not too late to get in by any means. You know, I got in at 24 cents. You know, they're just pennies right now, but if you wait too long, it's going to be too late to get in on this. Lastly, I'm going to cover Argo blockchain, one of my stock investments, and then Clean Spark blockchain as well. These are both Bitcoin mining stocks, and with mining stocks, they generate revenue from solving transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain. You know, because they have mass mining operations set up, mass mining facilities set up all around the world. So as a result of that, they're able to mass solve Bitcoin transactions and reap the transaction rewards from doing so, the blockchain rewards, the block rewards from doing that. So as you can see, we had a strong 62% rally from the low of this month up to the high, which was this week at $2.69. $2.92, my apologies. So nearly $3. Right now, price is looking like it's just retracing and is going to continue its rally next week. We kind of hit this minor level of supply here right in the middle of the chart. It almost kind of looks like a smart money trap. As you can see on the weekly time frame, just looks like an indecision candle, and if the next week opens bullish, then there should be nothing really holding this candle back from continuing higher. On the monthly time frame, it does look like we created a high retracement. Nothing is indicating bearish price action a reversal quite yet. We're just seeing some bearish candles, and looks like we may just get a continuation. We need this low here to stay intact. We don't want to see price really sustain or stay below $2.50. $2.50. We want it to hold this area and break above its high last week, its previous week's high, and continue higher up to the $4.50 price range. That's our first bid stop, the $4.50 price range, and then probably have a pullback, and then we'll see that initial rally, or not initial rally, that nice move up to $6, $7 price range. If we go to the intraday time frame, a bit on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that we had, yes, a good amount of bearish candles, but it didn't really outdo any of the bullish movement. That to me is not indicating that we are bearish. It just looks like a pullback, just bearish price action, and that we may continue our rally throughout this next week and continue higher. Lastly, Clean Spark blockchain. This particular pair, or this asset, has probably nearly 200% since when I initially looked at it. I wanted to make a video on both of these stocks when I first bought into them and when I first saw them back here just a few weeks ago in the middle of January. And since then, they've absolutely just rallied. Clean Spark has had a better performance than Argo blockchain, but Argo still performed pretty nicely, as you can see as well. But with Clean Spark, as you can see, massive bullish monthly candle. We are starting to have a bull run here. This is the confirmation you need for price to start trending heavily bullish. Start trending heavily bullish. So as you can see, we may have a pullback, given that price just moved nearly 200%. You can see kind of a gap in price right here. we may have a pullback, and you can see it on the monthly time frame too. This resistance that was broken might have a retest. Might be able to buy this around $10, $10.50, and then catch the continuation move up to 30. Well, first it's going to be 25, and then up to 30, and possibly even $40 price range. This price may most likely want to fill this type of imbalance that it made, this gap that it made in price when it first moved bullish on the open here Friday on the 9th, February 9th. If we enter right here or accumulate more, I don't personally own this stock. I own a good amount of shares of Argo, but for CleanSpark, I missed this one because I bought Argo as it was cheaper. It was $1.90 when it was at its low, but I got it at $2, and then currently my average price is where it's at now, as I've been buying, all the way up from $2 up to $2.50. But for CleanSpark, though, I currently don't own any, and I would like to buy this, where we have this zone at $10 is very, very good. That'd be a pretty good price in my opinion, but we may not hit that, and $11.50 is pretty fair. But ultimately, yeah, we may come and fill this gap. Price normally does come down to fill gaps, and then we may see this take off. But this may be next month. So for March, this may take a few weeks to play out, about a month to play out, to hit its high, have a retracement, come down, make a higher low, and continuation. Ultimately, I'll be watching this very, very closely. It could even be $12.50, but realistically, there's this gap here in imbalance in price, and most likely going to come down and fill this before we see that continuation move. Ultimately, looking very nice here. If we can break above this high here at where that we just made, a $19, $19.35, $19.25. Break above $24, $25 price range in sight, and then beyond that, $30 to $40. CleanSpark has a lot better fundamentals than Argo blockchain does, but ultimately they have the same business functions, solving transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain and reaping the blockchain rewards from doing so. So the more transactions that they solve and push through, the more revenue they generate, and that's essentially how it works. So if Bitcoin increases in price, they're one, generating revenue from the increased volumes on the blockchain, and two, from the increase in Bitcoin price. It's basically double appreciation on their asset and on what they're receiving for rewards. But alright, that's it for this week. I wish you guys a fantastic trading week. I'm looking forward to this week as well. We have a lot of good price action coming in here, a lot of good potential setups, especially on the NASDAQ and US 30. NASDAQ is looking super clean for a nice sell setup, so we're going to really keep our eyes peeled on that. And I'm going to set an alert real quick on CleanSpark real quick, at the price range that I discussed, so that when I do buy, I will let you guys know. And if you guys aren't already in my Telegram channel, the link is in the video description. Please feel free to join. I send news updates as well as regular technical analysis updates and motivation and just other tidbits to help you improve your trading. Wish you guys a great week, and thanks for stopping by. Take care and peace.